Am I the jerk for kicking out my sister's boyfriend after he rejected the dinner I spent hours cooking? Original post, September 15th, 2024. So here's what happened. I, 28 female, invited my sister, 25 female, and her boyfriend, 26 male, over for dinner. I love cooking and have spent hours preparing this fancy meal. Homemade pasta, a slow-cooked ragu, a salad, and a tiramisu for dessert. I was really proud of it and excited to have them over. When they arrived, everything was fine at first. We sat down, and I started serving the food. Her boyfriend, let's call him Owen, stared at the pasta for a moment, then looked at me and said, "I don't eat carbs." At first, I thought he was joking, but nope, he was dead serious. He goes on about how he's super into keto and carbs are the end. Okay, fine, that's his choice, but when I offered to make him a salad or something else on the spot, he refused and said that I should have known about his diet before. This is where it gets weird. He then pulls out a small Tupperware container from his bag filled with what looked like boiled chicken and broccoli and starts to eat it at my dinner table while the rest of us are trying to enjoy the meal I spent hours making. I was stunned and honestly kind of insulted. I told him it was rude to bring his own food without mentioning it to me beforehand, and he should have at least given me a heads up. He then goes off about how people need to respect his dietary choices and that I was being controlling by not accommodating. At this point, I'd had enough. I told him, if you can't eat what's served and won't even let me make something else, then maybe you should just get out. He stood up, said something like, "I'm just trying to be healthy," grabbed his Tupperware, and walked out. My sister stayed for a bit, but eventually left too, saying I overreacted. Now my sister's mad at me, saying I embarrassed her boyfriend and made them both feel unwelcome. My mom thinks I should apologize, but my friends are on my side, saying Owen was being incredibly rude. Am I the saw hole for telling him to get out? OP's comment, top comment. Commenter, your sister didn't give you a heads up about his diet. OP, honestly no, she didn't. I'm not sure if she even knew how serious he was about the whole keto thing because she never mentioned it. She eats pretty much anything, so I assumed he was the same, but even if she had, I feel like it still would have been polite for him to at least say something beforehand instead of just showing up with his own meal. I would have happily made something keto-friendly if I had known. There is no consensus bot on AITA, but top comments were NT. Update post September 21st, 2024, 6 days later. Well, y'all, buckle up because things have escalated in a way I never expected. After my initial post, I figured things would calm down once my sister had time to cool. Spoiler alert, they did not. So the day after I told Owen to leave, my sister texted me saying they want to talk things through at a family dinner. I assumed it would be just the three of us, maybe a neutral restaurant where we could hash it out like adults. Nope. Instead, my sister invites my parents, my brother, and Owen's parents to this dinner at my parents' house, turning it into some kind of weird intervention. I show up thinking it'll just be a casual conversation. But the moment I walk in, Owen's mom, let's call her Grace, is already going off about how Owen has always had special dietary needs and how people who care about him should respect his boundaries. The woman acts like the guy has a life-threatening allergy, not a trendy diet. My mom is sitting there looking super uncomfortable while my dad's just quietly sipping his beer, clearly wishing he were anywhere else. So Grace starts listing off Owen's dietary restrictions, and she's acting like I personally offended the whole keto community by serving pasta. Then, brace yourselves, Grace pulls out a folder. Yes, a literal folder with printouts. She hands one to me, one to my mom, and one to my dad. I'm flipping through this thing, and it's full of Owen's dietary guidelines, suggested meal plan, and even a list of keto-friendly restaurants we could go to in the future. At this point, I'm doing everything I can not to laugh, but it gets worse. Owen pipes up and says he's willing to forgive me for disrespecting his lifestyle if I agree to host a redo dinner where I follow his dietary restrictions to the letter. He says this will prove I'm serious about making amends and respecting his needs going forward. I thought he was joking, but no, he was dead serious. He even pulled out his phone to show me some keto recipe apps that I might find helpful. I was in total shock. My sister, by the way, said absolutely nothing during all of this, just staring at her plate like she wanted to Here my mom, bless her, tries to smooth things over by suggesting we all just eat whatever we want when we're together. But Grace snaps. It's not that simple, she says, that in their family they all follow keto together, and that's why Owen is so passionate about it. At this point, I've had enough. I stood up and said, look, I'm not redoing the dinner. I'm not making anyone a special keto feast. If Owen can't eat what I cook, that's fine. But bringing his own meal to my dinner without even telling me was disrespectful, and I'm not apologizing for feeling that. And then this is where it gets absolutely bonkers. Owen's dad stands up, points at me, and says, "This is exactly why Owen doesn't trust women to understand him. They always make it about themselves." The whole room went silent. My dad finally spoke up saying, "I think it's time for you all to leave," and started walking toward the door, basically escorting Owen's parents out. Owen and my sister stayed behind, but Owen was furious. He started yelling about how families should support each other and then accused me of trying to sabotage their relationship because I'm jealous of what they have. At that point, I just walked out and left the whole mess behind. Here's the kicker, though. A couple of days later, my sister called me, told me she and Owen were taking a break because she needed time to think. Apparently, this whole keto fiasco was the last straw on a long list of controlling behavior from Owen. She didn't realize just how bad it was until the whole family saw it play out at dinner. She even told me that Owen had been trying to get her to follow his diet for months, but she was hiding snacks in her car just to get a break from all the keto madness. So now Owen's gone full radio silent. My sister is staying with me for the time being, and I'm still getting passive-aggressive texts from Grace about how hurt Owen is and how he's just misunderstood. Honestly, I'm just glad my sister is finally seeing how controlling this guy was. TLDR, Owen's keto obsession led to a full-blown family intervention where his mom handed out dietary guidelines, and now my sister is taking a break from him because she realized how controlling he is. Now to the next story. Story 2. My wife left me for her rich lover, but when he lost it all, she came crawling back asking for a second chance. I am 32 years old, and I've been married to my wife, who is 27, for over 6 years. We've been together for 8 years and 3 months and have lived together for 7 years. In my opinion, everything was always excellent. I felt like we were the ideal relationship. We both have decent careers, secure money, and purchased a home 5 years ago in February 2022. I tragically lost my mother to a heart attack. The months that followed were extremely difficult for both myself and my wife, who was close to my mother. By harsh, I mean truly rough. We hardly went out twice throughout that time, spending most nights at home, relaxing on the couch and watching TV. I wasn't happy, but I assumed we'd get through it. Then D-Day arrived 5 weeks ago. My wife went out drinking with 3 male co-workers only 5 minutes away from her. I was okay with it, thinking cool, but I'm going to bed soon. Around 3:30 a.m., she arrived home with those 3 guys. I knew them all. She then informed me that she was going out with them to the city. I disliked it, but I couldn't stop her. Everything closes at 4 a.m., yet despite the 15-minute travel home, she didn't arrive until 5:30. That was when my suspicions began, despite the fact that I had never mistrusted her. 4 weeks ago, she departed for an entire Sunday, claiming she was going to a carnival with her mother. I didn't trust it, but had no idea what to do. She even left without saying goodbye while I was showering. She arrived home later that day weeping. My initial answer was, "Honey, come here, what happened? What's made you so upset?" Her first words were, "I want a divorce." Following that, we had an emotional conversation. I asked her straight up whether she had cheated, and she answered no. She told me she was unhappy for a long time and wanted a divorce. She had never informed me anything was wrong with our relationship, so this really surprised me. After our conversation, she left and moved in with her mother. 4 days later, I met her again since we have a puppy that neither of us can care for on our own, especially at her mother's house. So the dog is currently staying with an aunt. When we met again, I confronted her about infidelity. This time she admitted it. She said that she had cheated on me from the night she went drinking until a week later when she left. She stated that she believed she was in love with him. When I asked her what she liked best about him, she simply answered, "We have a good connection, a spark. That was it, I suppose." She also stated that she was experiencing a midlife crisis and was unsure about her life goal. In my perspective, she's going insane. She unexpectedly colored her hair purple and joined up for motorbike training. I attempted to reconcile with her during the first week or 2 of her departure, but she refused to budge. Every significant message I sent her was ignored. She did respond to light ones, but her responses were brief and arrogant. I really don't recognize my wife anymore. Her personality appeared to transform in just 1 week. She treats me as if I never existed in her life, as if I were a piece of junk. Is this a protective strategy to make things easier for her by pushing her issues into the future? Has she truly changed and feels this way now? How on earth is that possible? I mean, I get that falling in love is a fantastic experience. But what will happen to her after a few months when the honeymoon period with this guy is gone and she wakes up from it all? I've had a lot of conflicting sentiment. I resent her for cheating on me, and I'm incredibly disappointed, but I also see and understand that the foundation of our marriage has always been strong. 5 weeks have passed since D-Day. She still hasn't filed for divorce, and neither have I. I'm not sure, but I believe she's still seeing the person she cheated on me with. To be honest, I'm split between SAVYing our marriage and ending it right now. I don't care if we get back together or divorce. I honestly do not know what to do. If I file for divorce now, I might regret it later for being too quick, but I also can't keep VYing in this state of limbo, still legally married, but she's already gone. Edit. For the first 4 days after she departed, I was unsure if she had cheated on me. Those were the toughest days because I felt so horrible and as if I had messed up everything. But as she admitted to cheating, those sentiments began to vanish. Even if I share responsibility for some aspects of our divorce, it is entirely her fault. She never showed me she was unhappy. She appeared pleased as if she could have been an actress. She never mentioned being dissatisfied or what needed to change. To top it all off, she has cheated and continues to do so. This is finished. I no longer feel there's a way out of this. Also, I don't miss her right now. Sure, I miss who we were as a couple, but who is she now? Honestly, I almost feel sorry for the next guy whose heart she's bound to shatter. To be honest, I'm doing really well. After my mother died, of course I had other issues at the time, but I was finally getting out of the funk and climbing back up. I wanted to go outside, drink, have fun, ride my motorcycle, etc., but then she cheated and kicked me back into the RAVYN. It will be all right in time, but I have to say that I am not looking forward to the holidays. No mother, no wife, and my father is alone after 40 years of marriage, but we will deal with it. Life carries on. Fortunately, I have a wonderful sister and a close circle of friends who I have known for over 20 years. I'm not ready to return to single life, but I am also a little excited. I haven't dated in almost 8 years, and I haven't gone out without first checking in with my partner. Of course, I fell as deeply as possible, but I'm confident that there will be better days ahead. One of the Redditors was completely correct about us marrying too young. When we married, I was 26 and she was 21. I haven't changed much in those years, but it's possible that she has changed much and has hidden those feelings for quite some time. Note, she stated that she is experiencing a midlife crisis. Those are her words, not mine. To go deeper into our common interests, hobbies, characteristics, and so on, I merely indicated in the post that we lived a stable life. I didn't go into depth since I didn't believe it would matter very much, and the post is already pretty lengthy. But here we go. Hobbies and interests. We both enjoy gaming, although we have never played together. I'm now playing Saw Age of Empires 4 Saw on my PC, while she prefers to play Saw the Witcher Saw on her PlayStation. We both enjoyed watching a good Netflix show, especially after my mother died. We did it frequently, but even before that, we preferred staying in together to watch a nice MOVIE rather than going out. We would occasionally go to the MOVIES or play pool, maybe once or twice a month. We also went out to dinner. We both liked motorcycles. I had a license and a bike, whereas she didn't. She always enjoyed sitting in the back seat of the bike as a passenger. When she was younger, her father would take her for rides on his. Apparently, she wants her own license and bike, something I was unaware of. Family time. We both enjoyed spending time with our family. We'd usually spend every other Sunday at her mother's house with her stepfather, her father's house with her stepmother, or my father's house. We enjoyed DRIVYing to nature sites and forests, as well as going for walks with her. Personality traits. I enjoyed how spontaneous she could be. Well, she appears to be too impetuous, but that's okay. I sometimes overthink things such as whether we should buy something, whether we actually enjoy it, how much money we have at the time, and so on. She would simply buy it or book the vacation I was apprehensive about. I admire that about her. I realized we were diametrically opposed in this regard. I adored her sense of humor. We had or have an incredible connection when it comes to humor. We had the exact same dry, goofy sense of humor and always had a good time together. I always admired her honesty and straightforwardness until things went wrong. She was continuously telling me how she felt, what she liked and disliked. For example, approximately 4 years ago, I became addicted to a VY-Deo game. At the time, I had no idea what I was doing wrong, but after a few weeks, she told me I wasn't making her happy and that I needed to pay more attention to our relationship, which I did. I kept gaming to a bare minimum, bro. I enjoyed the way she spoke, walked, and laughed. I adored her appearance. She had a beautiful grin. I even liked how she usually sneezes 8 to 10 times in a row, but as of right now, all of those sentiments I had or have are quickly dissipating. As for our sex life, I'll make it brief. We didn't have much sex since we got married. I guess it's been twice a month on average. In my opinion, it was always fantastic, though I'm not sure about hers anymore. Thinking back, we both always climaxed unless she faked it, which I doubt. The sex act wasn't that thrilling. We always performed the same 3 or 4 positions, and that was it. Update 1. Okay, I made several calls yesterday. In the Netherlands, we have something called a mediator who handles all elements of it. This mediator handles the lawyer work, including financial and emotional discussion. It's like an all-in-one NDVY dual assisting 2 people with divorce. Today, we spoke with this mediator. Unfortunately, my soon-to-be ex's car broke down, and I had to pick her up. Yes, I had to for this to work. For the divorce to be finalized, it is critical that both of us attend the meetings with the mediator. Anyway, the talk went well. As predicted, we both indicated our desire to be divorced, but the adultery was never acknowledged. I didn't think it was worth stating that the mediator is neutral and does not take sides. Also, in the Netherlands, there are no rules against cheating. Thus, she has the same rights as if she hadn't cheated. We remained seated at the table after the mediator had left, barely speaking. Our cats roaming about were the only diversion. After a few minutes, I inquired if she had anything further to say, and she said no. I thus said, "Okay, then I think you can go now. Now, because I don't want you here." She asked, "Can you take me home?" I declined, saying, "How you get home is your own problem. I'm not in the mood to drive 30 minutes to get you home." She looked emotional. I believe she expected me to drive her home because in the past, I had done everything for her. After that, she called her mother who will pick her up in about an hour. She left the house stating, "I'm going for a walk for about an hour until Mom arrives to pick me up." She seemed hurt and emotional as she departed, but I'm staying strong. I still notice a lot of unusual behavior on her part, and I believe she is still in the affair fog. Despite everything, I still love her for who she was, but for the time being, I'm staying tough and treating her as if she meant nothing to me. Edit. As of right now, she means nothing to me. She is just no longer the woman I loved and remained faithful to. Query. I have a query that requires some context. For the past 11 years, I have worked as a driver for a transportation firm called Supertrans. I resigned that job 4 months ago and got a new one with another transportation firm. Around 1.5 years ago, I secured my soon-to-be ex a job at Supertrans. She worked in the office, and I was the driver. I also know her affair partner, EP, who works in the warehouse at Supertrans. Because I worked there for 11 years, I know everyone in the Supertrans office. Everyone liked me, and I was close friends with some of the dispatchers. As far as I know, my old co-workers, her present co-workers, are aware that we are divorcing, but no one is aware that she is or has been having an affair with AP, a warehouse employee. Her direct co-worker, who works at the desk next to her, is a 32-year-old gay man who was also present on the night my wife cheated. I will call him Blake. However, he left early that night. Blake was one of my favorite persons at their office, and he also liked me a lot. My soon-to-be ex is currently on vacation and will return to work next Monday. I know Blake likes me and wants the best for me. I'm seriously considering sending Blake a message explaining what occurred and revealing the affair to him. Of course, I'd like to warn him that my wife has no morals and cannot be trusted. I mean, Blake has to work with her on a daily basis. I want him to understand what kind of person my soon-to-be ex is. I also plan to inform him who the AP is because Blake was with them the night she cheated. I want Blake to understand how morally bankrupt the AP is, and I understand that this may appear to be a desire for vengeance. I suppose, this woman has put me through hell. I mentioned a few weeks ago that I would love to hear about her having a bad day at work next Monday, since her co-workers knew she deceived me and had an affair. Really, everyone liked me. I've known the majority of her staff for more than 10 years. Furthermore, I have the option of telling or not telling anyone about her adultery. Okay, so this isn't the question I intended to ask should I do this, but I believe I've already made up my mind. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and why you think I should or should not. Update. You've all been a tremendous assistance in my predicament. I must admit that I'm mentally exhausted, but overall I'm doing better than I could have expected after only 6 weeks. I have a question regarding my soon-to-be ex-wife's current behavior. Or, is it common for my soon-to-be ex to treat everyone around her as trash except her AP and her own parents? I suppose she is clearly treating me horribly with no respect, as if I were the worst spouse ever. She claims she's been miserable for several years, which I think is pure nonsense. Anyway, I don't really care what she's doing to me anymore. She's wrecking her life, not mine, but having an impact on others as well. My father gave her the sweetest note he'd ever given, and she didn't even respond with a thank you. Nothing. After my mother died in February of last year, my wife would often take my father to a nearby amusement. They both have subscriptions to, so they go very frequently. My father adored her, and I am witnessing him age by the hour, which saddens me. My soon-to-be ex-wife does not even send a thank you note. She simply leaves him to read. She also stated that she wanted to be close friends with my younger sister, but they have not spoken in several weeks. Also, my wife was meant to spend the day with her best friend, a common friend of ours, but she is now ignoring her. Her best friend texted her numerous times yesterday wondering whether today was still on, but my wife did not respond or even check her text. She also didn't answer the phone. So today, when they were meant to meet, the same thing happened. She didn't answer the phone. Her BFF sent her one more message wondering whether she was still coming. No response. She didn't even read the messages, even though her WhatsApp status reveals she was online after they were sent. Needless to say, her best friend has been crying all day. She took the day off to spend with my wife, go shopping, and have fun, and then this happened. Is this typical BHVY, or for someone in an affair fog, or might it be something else? I don't care what my wife is doing. I'm done with her. But this is so awful for her best friend. She's been crying on her couch all day because my wife treats her this way. While I'm composing this, another question comes to mind, but I believe I already have the answer. My soon-to-be ex-wife is telling everyone we broke up because we grew apart, and she hasn't been happy in years. I believe it is typical for a cheater to make excuses and not be open about what happened and how they fell in love with someone else. Oh, I almost forgot something really crucial. Her BFF, a common buddy, really stayed with us for 6 months from November 2021 to April 2022. She had recently gotten out a nasty relationship and had no place to stay. We had an extra room, so we brought her in. Anyway, my wife and her best friend actually discussed everything, including our relationship and sex life. Everything. I talk to her best friend every day, and she's been extremely lovely and completely honest with me. I asked her whether anything my wife had said about being unhappy with me for an extended length of time was genuine. BFF claims it's all lies. My wife has never mentioned anything to her, nor has she expressed any displeasure with. Keep in mind that they told each other everything except their feelings. So either my soon-to-be ex-wife is clearly lying now. I'm not sure why. Possibly to explain her cheating on me, fleeing our marriage, or she has kept her unpleasant feelings hidden from absolutely everyone but herself. I honestly do not know, but in my experience, I've never noticed her being dissatisfied with me, and BFF agrees. Many thanks again, everyone. Your help has been invaluable, and I would not be where I am today without it. Edit. I honestly hope karma hits her hard sooner rather than later. Also, when people ask me why we're getting divorced, I tell them the truth about her being a selfish cheater. Just yesterday, a female acquaintance shared my communications from my wife. The discussion went like this. Oh my God, honey, is it true you and your husband are separated? My wife said, yes, sadly this. The companion inquired, oh my God, no, what happened? My wife responded, yeah, well, we just grew apart over the last few years and have different lives. We chose to terminate it. Needless to say, I corrected this and told our friend the truth that my wife cheated on me, pretended to be in love, and abandoned me for another man. Everyone who learns the truth from me is shocked by the way. No one, including myself, expected my wife to do this. Update 3. I plan to make a new post in a few weeks. For now, I'm fine. When I realized she was out there levying her life without me, I began doing the same. I spoke with my soon-to-be ex-wife several times, and the conclusion seemed to be that she still loved me, but it wasn't fun anymore, which is not surprising given my mother's unexpected death in February. She claims to be in love with the AP, but without any strings attached. I never saw her being dissatisfied with me, and she even stated that she was unhappy with life in general. So what I believe happened was that she cheated, developed affections for AP, and abandoned me. Once that was evident, I decided to let her go and focus on myself. At this point, I don't care what she's doing or if she'll return. I'm fine either way. Work is going well. I've joined a gym and have been going 3 times a week. My muscles are hurting, and I've been talking to this lovely girl since childhood. Even though it's only friendship, I'm grateful to have a female friend with whom I can chat about anything. She lost her father last year, so we can all empathize with losing a parent, so sure I'm fine. Regarding the divorce, we had to acquire a large number of documents which were then forwarded to the mediator. We are currently waiting to hear from him before scheduling our next meeting and MOVing forward with the divorce. As of right now, I've already decided that the divorce will proceed regardless of whether my soon-to-be ex-wife or divorce is INEVY table since the marriage has ended. Update 4. We'll sign our divorce papers and make it official in 4 days. This is going to be a long post because I haven't updated in nearly 4 months. Well, I made some blunders along the way, but I also made movements that restored my power and made me respect myself. For starters, 5 months after the first shock, I no longer think about or feel affected by the adultery. So for everyone going through a difficult period, please believe me, it will get better and time is on your side. After adultery and our breakup, I committed blunders. I begged, pleaded, became angry, furious, and felt completely out of control as if she had lost her mind. This persisted for around 2 months. Unfortunately, after this period, I decided to stop whining. I told her that I had given it a lot of thought and that I would still be open to seeing her and talking to her, that I believed there might be a future for us, but that I couldn't guarantee anything. I have not contacted her in the last 3 months, at least not about casual matters or the relationship. The only things I inquired about were our upcoming divorce, finances, and our shared house. I didn't just sit and wait for the past 3 months. I am now 32 years old, and for the first time in my life, I went to the gym to work out, muscle building specifically as I have always been on the slim side. For the past 3 months, I've been going to the gym 4 times a week with complete dedication. I'm also seeing an improvement in my muscles and appearance. However, this goes beyond the gym, not only improves my physical look, but it also benefits my mental. At first, I started working out to keep myself occupied and distracted, but 3 months later, I look and feel much better about myself. I'm rediscovering confidence that I didn't realize I had. Pro tip of the day: when you're going through a difficult moment, the gym seems to help both physically. Regarding our shared house, I spoke with the bank, and I'm able to lend more money and take on a larger mortgage. I have to pay my ex-wife approximately due $165K for the house, but I am able and will do so. After signing everything and paying her, I will be the only owner of the mutual house, which is worth approximately due $300,000. I'm not happy about VYing to pay her due $165K, but in the long term, I'm far better off owning my own home, which is worth roughly 5 times that. Furthermore, she no longer has her own home. She officially lives with her mother again, but I know she frequently sits AP's place. I'm not contacting her, so how do I know? I will get to that. My ex and I share a mutual buddy. We never hang out together, but we do communicate on a regular basis. As far as I know, my ex left me to be with AP and immediately began a new relationship. I'm not sure what's going on with my ex, and at times it appears she's lost her mind. I try to keep my thoughts away from her, but occasionally they travel where they shouldn't. At the moment, I think I could refer to AP as BF because that's what he is now. However, I will stick with AP because that is how it began. Anyway, concerning AP and my ex-wife, karma is a saw, and it's beginning to bite hard. When my ex and AP first got together 5 months ago, everything appeared fine for them. However, the tables are starting to turn. AP is currently at home suffering from depression, which I know since a common acquaintance showed me screenshots of a chat between my ex-wife. Additionally, AP is currently out of work. Even when the infidelity initially occurred, I always felt superior to AP due to his lack of morality, and I had already concluded that he was worthless in comparison. Well, now I know for certain, which makes me feel like my ex-wife has gone insane. I'm not conceited, but I am certain that I am the catch and a far superior man than her AP. A little extra. At the beginning of their relationship, I was still contacting and warning her. Well, I think I was correct all along. Not only does AP prove himself to be the loser I suspected he was, but he also introduces her to a substance that has the potential to destroy her life. I discovered this through a mutual buddy. I haven't spoken with my ex-wife about it. If she wants to trash her own life, that is her choice, but it appears to be going bad quickly. My ex-wife is undoubtedly struggling and may even be questioning her own decision. I hadn't spoken or seen her over the holidays, Christmas and New Year's. However, around a week into the new year, 2023, she texted me unexpectedly asking if I was home and if she could come over. She came over to my house, and the VY sit lasted only about 5 minutes. She stopped by to tell me she had spent Christmas Day alone sobbing. She inquired about my holidays and how I was doing. I informed her that my Christmas was okay, but not the best. I lost my mother last year. These were the first holidays without her, so it was decent, but not amazing. However, I told her I was doing well, which I am. So for me, this was strange. The only thing I can think about from this entire VY sit and why she would be concerned about how I'm doing is whether she has any regrets. Time will tell. I also chatted with my ex's mother. My ex-mother-in-law called after New Year's to wish me a happy new year and best wishes. I must admit that I did not expect the call, but it was great to hear from her because she had been a part of our family for the past 8 years. My mother-in-law told me that my ex-wife hasn't been doing so well lately. Apparently, she is quite sad and crying a lot since she is mourning her marriage. My ex even told her mother, "I wish it wouldn't have to be like this," implying that she is VYing second thoughts. However, only my ex has the ability to reach out and make a move, which I do not anticipate happening. The only authority I truly have is to grant her the divorce she requested and then walk away from her life, which I did. I am separating myself from her life, divorcing her, and VYing myself every day. I apologize for the lengthy message, but I believe this covers all I needed to say. We will sign the divorce papers 4 days from now. Even though I'm doing well, I'm still human, and I still mourn our marriage and my ex-wife on occasion. I'm sorry to see what's happened to her, but I'm also aware that it's beyond my control and not my concern. Let me conclude by thanking everyone in this. Many thanks. Without your assistance, I would not be where I am today, both emotionally and physically. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening.